Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. It seems I'm doing a lot more of these videos nowadays than I've ever done before, because every time I look up there's something that happens that morally pisses me off. So, what is it this time? Well, let's look up from an article directly from the OccupyDemocrats.com website. And it reads, Native American second grader suspended by school for having a traditional hairstyle. In an atmosphere of increasing intolerance against a nation of immigrants, discrimination against minorities is reaching a very alarming levels. Coming off the heels of Trump's silent endorsement of purging Muslims from our nation, it is upsetting to learn that a Native American second grader in St. George, Utah, was sent home from school for cutting his hair into a traditional mohawk. The 7-year-old is a member of the Seneca and Paiute tribes and wanted to express his heritage, but the school felt that his hair was apparently, quote, distracting, unquote, and violating of the dress code. He was only allowed back into school after the Seneca Nation sent a strongly worded letter to the school explaining that, quote, it is common for Seneca boys to wear a mohawk because after years of discrimination and oppression, they are proud to share who they are. William Canella, a Seneca Nation tribal counselor, went on to chide the school for their decision, quoting, it is disappointing that your school does not view diversity in a positive manner, and it is our hope that the boy does not suffer any discrimination by the school administration or the faculty as a result. The repression of Native American culture and forced assimilation was once an active policy of the U.S. government, and socio-economical stress between ethnic and racial groups in America reaches shocking levels of tension. It is imperative that absurd little incidents like this are responded to properly. School official Rex Wilkie equivocated, saying that quote, some things are a little more clear-cut and some things are a little more controversial. You try to manage it the best way you can. Kids come in dressed in all kinds of ways and it can be an issue for the school. Times like this, we need to be celebrating our diversity, especially among our children. Encouraging and exploring cultural differences is what fosters tolerance for the next generation, and discriminatory incidents like this are not helping. So, for those of you unaware, this little kid just wanted to wear a mohawk because he was he was an Indian or Native American. That was his tribe's tradition. He wanted to express pride in his racial heritage, and the fact that he was sent home for distracting is appalling, because we are living in a time of acceptable racism where if you are not with the norm, you are considered a distraction at least, or not an annoyance. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't find the word for it, but I'm not saying I'm gonna say. It's just not. If you're not part of what is considered normal here, then you are labeled a deterrent and a distraction, and you are forced to assimilate. Now, I can liken this to what Donald Trump said not only in several of his interviews, but in the debate a couple of days ago, where he says that this is America and people should speak English. You should assimilate. That's a problem, because language is not just language is also part of a person's heritage. Like, if a person speaks Spanish, it's because they're Spanish lineage. They keep that alive by speaking Spanish. One of my friends is a full-blown Mexican, and him and his family speak Mexican all the time, regardless of whether I'm around or not. I speak very little Mexican, or very little Spanish. I'm sorry. I speak very little Spanish, un poquito. I tell them that. They try to teach me what little Spanish I can, and I learn as much as I possibly can, even though I'm not good with second languages, and I'm learning how to speak Japanese as well. So, what I'm trying to say is that I have never once been put out with them speaking Spanish around me, because that's their language. I understand that my friends' parents are Mexican immigrants. They speak very little English, and I'm not going to just stand there and tell them, look, you should speak American, or you should. I'm sorry, not trying to sound ignorant. You should speak English because that's the language of the no. I would be wrong for saying that because learning a second language is hard. Everyone knows that. And Spanish is a part of their culture. Who am I to say that they should be speaking English? I'm not. I don't try to speak Spanish to them as much as they try to speak English to me. Their kids translate for me because their kids speak fluent Spanish themselves, so they can speak fluent English. So I'm just saying that this just goes to show that how was it disruptive? Someone in the comments section of this particular article said that it was equating wearing a kid wearing a mohawk to show pride in his heritage, akin to kids wearing their pants around having saggy pants. No, there's a difference. I'll tell you why. A mohawk worn by this particular tribe was a part of their culture. It's been a part of their culture since before the first settlers, the first English and Spanish and French and Russian and all the other settlers from Europe came over here, and they forced them to assimilate. This kid just wanted to show his heritage for what little he had left of it. Pants sagging around your waist is not a part of a culture. It is part of prison culture. A lot of people don't get this. The saggy pants for these so-called hard thugs is from prison culture, and it immigrated out of the prisons. This pretty much was a signal to let the inmates know that you were pretty much ready to have your asshole reamed out by a large, long dick. Yeah, that's what that means. A lot of people don't know this. It's prison culture. It's not black culture. It's prison culture. This little kid who just wanted to show some pride in his people was told that he was a disruptive influence. Now, this is a symptom of, like I said, of acceptable racism, where the higher ups, the so-called where the elected officials and the moral leaders say that if something does not follow in line with what they believe, it can be called a disruptive influence. Now, why would they? Now, this goes to show you that this climate of intolerance against anyone intolerance against anyone who is not of America's culture or product of America's environment is alarming. It is getting to the point where it's a crime just to be yourself. Where it's a crime if you're not white and American, it's a crime. And before any of you say I'm race baiting, whatever the fuck that means, I'm just speaking the truth. You never hear you never hear of someone is just annoying people because they decide to wear a yarmulke. Because a yarmulke is part of Jewish culture. Or if someone decides to wear a bit of clothing that is representative of their own culture, something that is tasteful. That a boy wearing a mohawk is about as disruptive as a guy wearing dreadlocks. I had dreadlocks in my hair my senior year of high school. Those of you who went to Forest Brook High School know I had braids in my hair because I wanted to look cool. No one got on me about it. It was a popular hairstyle back in the day and still popular today, even though its roots can be traced back all the way to Jamaica and the Caribbean. I'm not saying that's the truth. That's just my thoughts on it. So if it's okay for black kids to wear their hair braided up like that, then it should be okay for this Native American boy to wear his head in a mohawk. He's not going around advocating scalping people or running around with a bow and fucking arrow. No, he just wants to show his pride in his particular ethnicity, as it were. So I'm glad that the tribal elders were able to get on this and just say, hey, look, this is part of his heritage. You should be championing diversity in your school, and not just trying to tamp it down. And unfortunately, this is the climate we've lived in. The GOP and Republicans and all these evangelical right extremists and Christian extremists, yeah, there are Christian extremists, come in here, and the way they talk, it makes it seem like if you're anything other than a Christian and white in this country, then anything that bad happens to you is your own fault. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this kid. If this is what it means to make America great again, I don't want a part of it. I really don't. I may be the only one. I may be the only one person advocating this, but I really don't. I really don't want any part of pretty much telling a person that they can't be themselves or they can't be proud of their heritage, because it's be like either you assimilate or you die. I can't be a part of that. So anyway, that's my video. Like what you see? Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about this whole incident? Leave it below. I will get back to you. You want to support the channel? Clicking that like button helps, as does clicking one of these advertisements scattered around this video. Or it's up there, you know what to do. So, until next time, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good day, and encourage diversity, folks.